Good morning. Welcome back. Day 3 of mine and Jack's escapades all through the bayou and the Delta. I am ready to get home. Louisiana, Mississippi have been a lot of fun, but I'm kind of over it. Thankfully, neither one of us work tomorrow, so we can. We're already on pace to get back about 11 or later tonight at home because we slept in and we're taking our time. We also are probably going to stop in Mississippi for a few minutes and see a friend. We'll see. He's about 2 hours away. It's foggy-ish. Not really excited about that. The ambient air temperature is nice, but the fog makes it a lot colder. This weather report has been brought to you by WMBR 1976.5 on River. Oh, I didn't even give you the date. It's January 1st, the year of our Lord 2023. I'm going to get all buckled up and look at my tire. We went mudding last night, and not the same kind of mudding that Jack and I normally get involved in.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder of Louisiana. It's not really a wild blue yonder. It's a foggy gray yonder, and I'm hoping that this cooks off as we get down the road because this is kind of not being able to see, the mist fogging up my windshield, the mist making me cold. It's been a great couple of days, man. We've gone about 1,000 miles, between Friday and yesterday. Friday, of course, was the trip from Tampa over to Springfield, Louisiana, which isn't that far from here, actually. And then yesterday we did about 300 miles. So, yeah, right at 1,000 miles ish, somewhere close. And then today, 700 something miles back home. Now, what I did was I searched. So we used Bunker Biker first night, which was great. I loved our host. That was my first experience with it, and I'd like to think that all Bunker Biker experiences are that way, but it's probably unrealistic. But for the second night, I'm like, I don't want to wear out my welcome. I want to be able to drop my shit off somewhere and then go. So we got an Airbnb, and you search Airbnb and you open up the map, and I was kind of looking at what's cheap, and I had to stroll out pretty far to find things that weren't over $1,000 near New Orleans. And we found this spot, but it was close to Baton Rouge, which is 4 West. Now, if I had been smart, since we already had to ride an hour back to the Airbnb, I should have looked for something that was an hour east of New Orleans. So that way we would have gained that hour towards the house last night instead of having to backtrack west now and then backtrack again to the east this morning. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not too upset about it. Jack's been a great traveling companion. He's a good friend. Had no doubt that it'd be great to travel with. Just like me, he's not in a hurry, and I'm okay with that. You've heard me a couple of times on this trip complain about the Louisiana roads. Arkansas roads, look at this, if you can see this. These little, I don't know what that is, but they're everywhere on these pack highways. And some of them are pretty raunchy. You hit those things, and if you're not airborne, you feel like you're damn near it. It doesn't feel very safe at all. Last night we hit one that as soon as you went over it, like that right there, as soon as you went over it, you also had a bridge transition. So not only were you almost airborne from those little black bumps for whatever reason, but then you're also getting shellacked by the bridge transition. Anyway, I'm hoping for a dry trip all the way back. I mean, don't we always hope for that? Friday when we got rained on really badly, we knew it was going to rain. We knew where the rain was, so at least we were prepared for it. This time, sounds like there might be some rain going on in the Tampa area this evening, but at the pace we're at now, we're not going to get back home till 11 or 12 tonight. So hopefully we'll miss it all. Hopefully somewhere in the next couple hours this all burns off and we have a nice clear day. Let's get down the road. Won't see you until the next stop unless something happens. But nothing's going to happen. Everything's going to go swimmingly. And we'll say hi to our friend.
stop. 127 miles in. You never know what you're going to run into deep in the heart of Mississippi.
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, we got a random saddle tramp appears. He come up here to trade this motorcycle for Jack's baggers. So Jack's going to ride that home all the way back to Tampa.
Okay.
No, I won't ride with you. I've had way too many experiences with Jack and his excursions on motorcycles that shouldn't be going that far, and I don't want to add another one. Nice to look at, sounds good.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go. Yes, you can. Just about anything beats an old Ironhead.
That's pretty good.
For distance.
It can happen.
Okay.
There's actually a story. I got a story about that.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you want to get it on film.
Okay, we won't get it on film,
But
but we'll catch up in a minute.
Say goodbye to Mississippi, goodbye to Saddle Tramp. It's always nice in the motorcycle community. You meet people from all over the place, and it's kind of good. It's good when you go into their area, their neck of the woods, and can hook up with them. You know what I mean? He asked if we wanted to go somewhere and have lunch. I'm like, oh, we ain't gonna be here that long. We were here that long. Could have just gone and have lunch. Shouldn't have to stop again until we get to Florida. Got about 117 miles to get to Pensacola, which is a shorter stretch than what I would normally like to have. But it makes sense, because once you get past Pensacola up in the Panhandle, not really a whole lot going on for a while. So I think that's going to make the most sense. Yeah, we're on track to get home about midnight or later now, after that hour-plus long stop at the Loves in Long Beach, Mississippi. Recording here and there over the course of 3 days. I have no idea what I've said, what I haven't said. So some of this stuff might be repeat, but I was born in Mississippi. 1976, bicentennial, baby. I was born in a little town called Isola up in Humphreys County in a clinic. There were no hospitals up there. I was home 4 hours after I came out of the womb, man. Old school, I guess. And I do have some faint memories of Mississippi. I got family up near Jackson. It's just one of those places people are just country. You know what I mean? Just country people all around. Saddle Tramp and I were on the phone yesterday for a little while. And I know I've mentioned it on this trip, how the folks, in Louisiana, especially our, Bunker Biker hosts and whatnot. Hell, even our Airbnb hosts. Just so hospitable. And, what he mentioned was, it seems like the closer you get to Tampa, the more like the East Coast California you are. And that's true. Oh, I'm going way faster than I want to go. But here, I noticed in the Panhandle on the way over, that people, when we stop for gas, we stop to get lunch, people would say, hey, you got a pretty nasty storm coming, like they were looking out for me. You know what I'm saying? Tampa, ain't nobody gonna tell you that shit. They don't care. Every man and woman for themselves. Yeah, yesterday we rolled into the Airbnb. Now, I'm not like a frequent flyer of Airbnb, but I've stayed in a few. I've never once met an Airbnb host until yesterday. We get there, the wife, it's a couple who own it. The wife is inside, doing the last touches on the cleanup. The husband is up front in the house. And we get there, they are also riders, so they can kind of relate to what we're doing. Like, hey, you want to come up for a beer? Yes, I do. So we hung out, up in the front house, had a bar there, and had a beer with him. Played an old guitar, like a 1963 Gibson 335. But I would never live in I say never. I wouldn't want to live in Mississippi or Louisiana or in this area of the country. Again, on these multiple day trips, I always feel like on the way back home, I've kind of tuckered myself out, and I don't really have a whole lot of interesting things to say. But I do like being on the road. I do like traveling. When I had the road glide, that was my biggest complaint. My wife's biggest complaint was actually I didn't ride it enough. And she was right. For the amount of money that we paid for it, I didn't ride it anywhere near as much. And my complaint was I don't like riding it locally. And I didn't. I hated that motorcycle locally. But on the road, which I took 4 or 5 road trips on the road, I loved it. One of my favorite motorcycles. This was different. It's not as heavy. It's not as awkward. And this is the bike I've always wanted. Why I bought a Road Glide back then, no idea. Road King, on this trip, it's been phenomenal. It's every bit as comfortable as the Goldwing, promise you. The big difference, it's been years since I've done a road trip on a bike that wasn't the Goldwing. The Goldwing blocks all the wind. This one, my inner thighs are sore as keeping my legs closed from being blown out from the wind resistance. So I forgot all about that until yesterday when I'm sore. I'm like, why the hell am I so sore? And I remembered it's the constant muscle flex pulling your legs back into the tank. Almost in Mobile, Alabama. Look at the nice sunny sky. Every mile closer we get to Florida, we get welcomed home by the sweet kiss of the sunshine. Oh man, I felt like the entire time we were in Mississippi and Louisiana, it was just gloom. Like the whole time. Trees were dead, skies were gray, fog loomed in the air. It felt like certain death just by being outside. Now as we get closer to Florida, it's bright and sunshiny. Now we do know that Florida is known for their very dark death clouds and storms coming through. We have those for sure. But it definitely feels better closer we get to Florida. Mobile is also, I feel like it's the last city that has the bridges and tunnels and your over never-ending marshland. So I'll be glad to be through all of that, because when you pass over those things, now it looks bright and sunny, and it's 70 degrees, and it feels great. But sometimes it just drops to like 50 degrees, and you can feel it. And we're about to go through the Mobile Tunnel, and I really wanted to get this on video the other day. I got this on video on the way to New Orleans back in 2018. There's a video. I'll try to remember to post it, but I'm pretty bad about it. But this time on the way over, I didn't get it because we had cameras off. It rained here because coming through here was absolutely nasty. Oh, what an awful, awful rainstorm. Mobile's a cute town, city. I feel like there's more in the way of industry and port than there is actual city. I don't know what the makeup of Mobile is, but it looks like 3 buildings and, well, 4 buildings, and whatever this angled thing is right here. So, kind of quaint. Always weird to me coming through here. I don't think it actually goes underwater. And Mobile doesn't have the monopoly on tunnels and downtowns, but certainly an odd one. I have been a very fast driver in my day, but some of these guys, it's not just how fast they drive, it's how close they cut it. They come around this way really fast to hurry up and get around somebody. They're going the exact same speed they were back there in this lane before. So I don't know what advantage they just got from doing all that, but it doesn't take much at 70 to 80 miles an hour to get yourself really thrown off course and somebody up. That's how accidents happen. Obviously, New Orleans looks a lot like this. I got some of this back there, got some of this in Mississippi. And we have one more long bridge to go over right outside of Pensacola. It's kind of a signature look for the Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana, whatever, that whole stretch right along the Gulf. It's like humans, we couldn't play it safe, stay that way like 10 miles. Like, nope, the land ends here at the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to build all the way to right here. How do we do it? And this is how we do it. So, like that building there, I'm surprised it hasn't been swallowed up by the Gulf. How did they know when they built that was going to be okay? Is it okay? How long is it going to be okay? I'm rambling. Anyway, we're going to get into Florida, which is coming right up here soon. Let's stop and get some lunch. We'll see you then.
All right, we got about 330 miles left. I'm not recording a whole lot on this way back. Like I mentioned earlier when we left Gonzales, it's that third day, last day where you're like, really don't want to record anything. But you do, part of the way. How's the trip? Look at him. He looks haggard.
It was fun.
It was fun. We're still going.
We're almost 1,400 miles into this trip.
Yeah.
And
Not bad.
I'm ready to hang my backpack up at the house.
Yeah, me too. I'm ready to be home as well. And I think we're still in Central Time, so we're out. I probably won't record again. I might, but I probably won't.
fam. Welcome back. I've now been back from our trip for 2 days, our trip around the bayou, Mississippi and Louisiana. I've got a story about this gator tooth. I'll share that with you some other time. I have knocked a hole in my head out of my shed yesterday. I'm trying to heal from that, but I noticed yesterday morning when I came out here to mow my grass that my wheel weights from my rear wheel had popped off the bike and were laying in the driveway. I am very fortunate that they fell off right here after I got home rather than somewhere on the road while we were going, 75 to 85 miles an hour through fog and rain and all that. So really lucky. I did go buy some new 1/4 ounce weights. There was 4 of those, so 1 ounce of weight. The spot they were at is still pretty clear on the wheel. So I'm going to clean that spot off a little bit and then put those new weights back on. Hopefully that works out well. I just reached out to a good friend who is a technician, asked if that's okay. He said, yeah, if it's the same weight in the same spot, shouldn't be any problem at all. So we'll roll the dice and see, I guess. I don't know how well it's going to come through on camera, but the old adhesive is right here. That's where it was. And I know that when I clean this off some, I'm going to take some of the dirt around it so it's not going to be so clearly marked. I can just see that it's pretty centered between this spoke and this spoke. So let's clean that off. Get ready for the new one. I mean, it's coming. It's just going to take a little more elbow grease than I originally planned. I am using quadruple aught Brillo or whatever this is, so it's coming. Just going to take me a little bit. Hey, this is going to be the cleanest spot on the bike right now. Trying to do this while I still have some daylight left. It's just now at the end of my workday, and as we know, in the winter, I don't have much daylight left in the day. I think that's going to do it. I can't wait to get all this dirt off of here. I'm not going to do it now, though, because I'm focused on this. It's just some Dawn dish soap I had on here. Alright, let's dry it off. Not a trace of it. Alright, so here's the ones that came off. 4 little 1/4 ounce. Here's the ones I bought from Harbor Freight. I think these 4, yeah, they're going to be bigger than these 4. So I'll have to make sure I center them. The weight should be the same. It's just the size is going to be a little bit different. Now let's get the heat gun. Activate this glue before sticking it on the motorcycle. Let's activate this glue. It's going to be real hot to touch, but here's what it is, right? Alright, and this is where my scientific measuring comes into place. I know it's between those two. Yep, pretty centered. Glue's still a little bit warm. We'll let it sit for a little while, and I might take it for a ride this evening to check it out. All right, honestly, I don't really care for how spongy that feels still. Maybe it's because I bought Harbor Freight. Maybe it's just because that's just how they are. Also, maybe it just hasn't had enough time to really set in there. I've only let it sit there for a minute and a half. To play it safe, I'm going to stick this little strip, this 1 ounce, in the saddlebag just in case I throw them and need to get home. You know what I'm saying? So we'll put it in there. I didn't show you guys my tool roll, huh? This is the one I bought. It's a Riker one. I like it. I got all the tools that I put together in my last video in there, plus a few extras that people mentioned in the comments. I'm pretty satisfied with it. Yep, that should wrap that up. Hopefully it's good to go. And yeah, we'll take it for a little test right here in a little while, or tomorrow. Just hit the stay on. All right, fam, that's gonna wrap this one up. I've been sitting on this footage. Obviously, today's February 20th, and the video comes out this evening. So I've been sitting on this footage about 6 weeks. I found myself in a spot where I actually have more footage than I have video. Did you see that leaf just hit me in the head? And a lot has happened since we came back from the trip. I lost a job, got the new job at Harley. I'm actually doing pretty well. As of today, I've sold 8 bikes this month, which is pretty good for my first month, and I'll take it. But yeah, the trip was great. I really needed that road trip. The wife was out of town, so I wasn't in the doghouse for, going on a trip during a holiday weekend. And it was good. It was good to get out with Jack. It was good to just have a couple of us out on the road for 3 days. It's a lot of miles for 3 days. Well, by a lot of people's standards, about 1,700 miles. But it was a good time. And I appreciate you watching. So until next time, we'll see you later.